All right, good evening, everyone. It is Monday, June 10th. It is 7:04 PM. This is a regular meeting of the town council. Will everyone rise for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Following town council members are present in chambers: Persico, Cohut, Mauer, Lapellis, Formicella, Wales, and Duva. The following town council members are absent: O'Rourke and Reed. I am going to move around our schedule this evening. Moving on to item 8, appointments. Item A, Councilmember Mauer.
I move resolution 24-101, resolved that the Monroe Town Council hereby approves the first selectman's appointment of Dee Dee Martin, Democrat of 95 Marianne Drive, to the Parks and Recreation Commission, their term ending October 21st, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Enid Lapellis. Mr. Mauer, any discussion?
Dee Dee Martin has lived in Monroe since 1978. She recently ended her 29 years of service to the town of Monroe on the town council. Dee Dee has served on various committees in town government over the last 45 years, including the Monroe Bicentennial Committee and the Massac Building Renovations Committee. One of Dee Dee's first contributions to Monroe was serving on the Parks and Recreation Commission, and she's excited to rejoin the commission and get to work. This appointment fills the vacancy created by the resignation of Teresa Oliar, and ends October 21st, 2026.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution 24-101, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Item B, resolution 24-102. Mr. Mauer.
I move resolution 24-102, resolved that the Monroe Town Council hereby approves the first selectman's appointment of Kathy Lohr, Democrat of 51 Hattertown Road, to the WMNR Commission for a term ending March 9th, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Mauer, discussion?
Kathy is a 40-year Monroe resident. She's retired from 42 years of federal service with the Department of Veterans Affairs as an acute mental health nurse manager. She was recently elected president of the Save Our Stepney Task Force, where she has chaired the annual tree lighting. In her spare time, she is an avid gardener, attaining master gardener status. She lives in Stepney with her husband, Greg. This appointment fills the vacancy created by the death of Fred Velarde. Again, this ends March 9th, 2026, and Kathy is here this evening upon approval for her to be sworn in.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution 24-102, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. If you wouldn't mind to come up and be sworn in.
You're way overqualified for this job.
Okay.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, as you will faithfully discharge according to law your duties as WMNR Commissioner to the best of your abilities, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, moving back to item 3. We have a public hearing tonight. Item A, 2024 Neighborhood Act Assistance Program. Pursuant to Connecticut General Statute, Section 12-632, the town council shall conduct a public hearing to receive input on proposals submitted for consideration for the 2024 Neighborhood Assistance Act program. I will open this public hearing at this time. It is 7:09 PM. Please be advised that the town council chair has directed that a public hearing on the 2024 Neighborhood Assistance Act program application be noticed as provided herein. The public hearing shall be conducted during the regular meeting of the town council on June 10th, 2024, and starts at 7 PM. This meeting will be conducted in person in Town Hall, 7 Fan Hill Road, Monroe, Connecticut, and in part via electronic equipment pursuant to Connecticut law. In said notice, which was sent by our first selectman to the town clerk. It provides a link that can be used computer, tablet, or smartphone, or via phone number, which is 1-929-205-6099. The meeting ID was 899-1142-4218-286494. There is an item on our agenda. I don't, Mr. First Selectman, did you receive any applications for the 2024 Neighborhood Assistance Program, Act program?
No.
Did you receive any applications for the program?
I have not.
Okay. Is there any member of the public that would like to participate in this public hearing regarding the 2024 Neighborhood Act Assistance Program? Our presenters don't want to participate in something they probably don't know about? No? Okay. Bill, no. All right. Is there anyone online that would like to participate during this public hearing regarding the 2024 Neighborhood Act Assistance Program? Please remember to unmute yourself. It's *6 on your phone, or if you're here digitally on your tablet or computer or smartphone, it is you need to deselect the microphone with the red line through it. I will note for the record that there is business item B, resolution 24-103, to consider and act upon a resolution regarding the 2024 Neighborhood Assistance Act program application for, I believe, Project Warm. Once again, is there any member of the public that would like to participate during this public hearing? Hearing none, I'm closing the public hearing. It is 7:11. Moving on to item 4, the open government presentation. So I will invite our first selectman to introduce our presenters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Many meetings we've had, and I've spoken about OpenGov and the software. We're looking to consolidate software and land use and permitting. There's a lot of benefits to this program. I spoke about it many council meetings. I've kind of updated you, the council, as to the meetings. We originally had OpenGov come, Madigan, and I'm sorry, I forgot the other gentleman's name. It's the first time I'm meeting you. Madigan has been here several times with the directors. We originally had a directors meeting, and then we realized that there were more directors that could benefit. So we ended up having a second meeting. But between the two, surrounding communities that use OpenGov, there's many in the state, but the surrounding communities that use it, Trumbull uses it, Reading uses it, Shelton uses it, and I believe Stratford too, right, Madigan? I think Stratford uses it too. So because Shelton was our neighbor, we went and visited Shelton, and I brought the planning and zoning administrator. I brought William Holsworth, our economic and development community director, there, and they were very impressed with the operations of OpenGov. It's also a cloud-based operation. So I'll talk about it later, but we're up for our credit rating, and one of the big items in our credit rating is cybersecurity. And as you know, we've made some efforts there, and OpenGov being a cloud-based operation, they have a great rating themselves with their history of not getting their information out there. I don't know if there's a lot that people would want as far as permits and things of that nature, but they do have a great rating there, so that's good for us as well. But anyway, Madigan has flown in from Chicago twice now to help us out, and they're here now to present. Now, their typical presentation, which I have sat through now twice, is about 3 hours long. It's a very involved operation, but I think they have the ability to shorten it to give you the idea of what this is. This will be great for town hall. Currently, we're using multiple different systems that don't typically speak to each other, and you have to go to this component. This will collectively consolidate many of the land use, the permitting operations, town clerk, and there's also a legal angle of it for our town attorney to go on there. The citizens will also know, and I'm getting ahead, I know you'll explain this, but the citizens, if they pull a permit, they'll be able to follow online. So they'll be able to know where their projects are at the entire time, as well as the contractors. If a contractor is registered in another town per se, once they have an account with OpenGov, they can easily go into this program and do whatever they need to do for permits. In the town of Shelton, they said they had about 30 walk-ins a week. Now they have 3 because everything's online. So it's just kind of modernizing and streamlining the operation, but I'll let them show you what they do to us, to Bill, to P and Z, to the building inspector. Everybody was very, very impressed with this program, or this software. So without further conversation from me, who knows just enough to introduce you, welcome. Thank you for coming, and take it away.
Matt, we'll obviously introduce ourselves, but I'll quickly start off. My name is Steve Lane, and obviously, First Selectman, thank you very much for the introduction, and we're very excited to be here tonight, and thank you to all of you for welcoming us here at the Town Council. My name is Steve Lane. I'm actually here on behalf of my colleague Jack Ragnoni, who's been working very closely with Bill in the town for the past few months. I'm our sales director for our East team here at OpenGov. Jack is a member of my team that works specifically with our permitting and licensing solution. So I actually had a chance when Jack and I were working with the town of Seymour a few months back to just pop in here. We spoke with Kathleen just to try to, say, hey, here's who we are and what we do here in Connecticut, which then sparked a larger conversation, which Jack led, obviously, with Bill and the rest of the town here. So I'll let Madigan introduce herself. She's going to be the real star of the show here tonight, but thank you again. And just to give you guys an idea, we'll go through a quick little presentation for about 5 minutes, an overview of who we are at OpenGov, obviously our presence here in the state of Connecticut. And Madigan will walk you through a really high level kind of presentation of what the solution is all about. So Madigan, introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Madigan Ellis. I'm a solutions specialist with OpenGov. Really what that means is that I'm just making sure that we're a good technical fit for the town of Monroe. I have been with OpenGov for about 3 years now. Prior to coming to OpenGov, I got my master's in public administration, where I thought I was actually going to work in local government. So now I just get to do that at a little bit of a different capacity. Like Steve said, I'll go through a high level demonstration. Please stop me along the way for any questions that you have. I've been, like First Selectman Rudy said, I have been, this is my 3rd time here from Chicago. I really think a lot of the town and the individuals that I've been working with. I think our first conversations were back in April, so I learned a lot about the town's processes, and I think that we could really do something special here.
And I should say, my colleague Jack has been working. The only reason he's not here tonight is because he's at a family wedding in Italy. His name's Jack Ragnoni, so an important family wedding that he's coming back from Italy. But he did everything he could to try to make it back, and obviously, he's just as much appreciative of Madigan and I are. So to kind of dive into it here again, real quickly, and tell you a little bit about OpenGov and who we are. There we go. All right, cool. So OpenGov, our mission is to power more effective and accountable government. Quite simply, what that means is we make very easy to use modern solutions that at the end of the day, streamline the operations of the staff, at local municipalities and state governments that we work with, but also provide those same ease of use modern solutions to constituents that interact with the software, which in the case of permitting and licensing is certainly the case. So this is everything that we do at OpenGov, and the only reason I bring it up, because we're here today to focus on our permitting and licensing solution, is one of the main reasons communities like to partner with us is because of potential expansion of the partnership. We come in, we prove our value in the area that obviously is being considered, and there's even potential expansion to go further than that, which is the way that a lot of our partners that we work with grow with us at OpenGov to kind of power various operations that they might run. Really, at the end of the day here, though, we aim to bring 3 things, and especially when you talk about permitting, licensing, code enforcement, there's really two of these 3 things that we really want to focus on here is the ability for your staff to operate more efficiently. All right, there's a lot of departments that have to collaborate on permit approvals, whether it's a building permit, a zoning application, land use. There's all kinds of collaboration and getting everybody on the same platform. Secondly, these things change, right? There's going to be ways, whether it's a year from now, 2 years from now, ordinances get passed, different rezoning laws happen. Just imagining a better way to do it, giving the staff the ability to adapt to change, make simple software where they can change, simple configuration where they can change things themselves and not be held up with traditional software providers having to hard code, customize the software, just really allow the staff to be, full power users of the system, which we'll talk about here. Last but not least, strengthen public trust. Just give your constituents, the actual contractors that are applying for these permits, the residents that are applying for these permits, 24/7 accessible, 365-day, easy online solution that's self-guided and intuitive. So Madigan's going to walk you through what it's like to actually apply for a permit. People can do it, sitting at home on their couch. Contractors can do it out on the job site on their lunch breaks, and it really just, speeds up the process. The other great thing, especially here in the state of Connecticut, is, and that's the first selectman mentioned, we work with 55 communities across the state right now. There are contractors that work here probably in the town of Monroe that are working in neighboring communities, familiar with the system, use OpenGov. They can manage their projects from one site. And it really, it's something that they really enjoy. And we hear a lot of feedback from contractors, just being able to consolidate their projects on one system, and the familiarity of it, it is really beneficial to them. There's also a number of things just from an overall strategic priority here at the town that we align to. We're going to show you here the ability for us to create these seamless automated workflows, which, allows, again, the staff to operate more efficiently. Talk about those unexpected changes and just being able to really adapt and for those departments to do so on the fly. The collaboration, right? Taking some of these these fragmented systems and consolidating them, and we'll have the ability to replace some of those down the line and make OpenGov a single source of truth for all record keeping as it applies to these things. And last but not least, again, that excellent customer service. First selectman alluded to it. It's been not uncommon at all that we, hear of communities, taking 80, 100 plus phone calls a day, turning it into less than 10, hopefully even 0, because of the fact that, you've just got a self-guided portal that's very easy to use. And then when you apply for the permits. And again, just, now, especially with what happened with COVID, there's a lot of just general expectation of digital services coming from the government, and we're able to provide that. As I mentioned, we work with 55 communities across the state of Connecticut. Clearly the leader in the space. I think it's now over a third of all permits in the state are being issued through OpenGov. So this just gives you a picture here. And again, the real key is a couple of things. One, it obviously creates that network of the users on the constituent side that are, have familiarity, can manage projects, but there also is the ability of collaboration amongst other communities. There are certainly applications and permits that are similar, that Shelton might be using or Seymour might be using that we can replicate here at the town of Monroe, and they can just get ideas and things of that nature. We hold things like user groups, so it's just overall, in that regard, helps out. Also, just again to talk about just our presence across New England. Here in Massachusetts, you can see we are clearly the leader in the state here. Same in Vermont, New Hampshire, and again, we work with now over 550 communities across the country, 49 of the 50 states with this solution alone. But this was started in New England, and we have been able to expand our footprint across all of New England as the leader for e-permitting software in the region. One of the real key things that differentiates us and why we've been able to not only bring on so many customers, but have great adoption and people come to us is because we employ our company with a lot of our former customers and former public sector individuals. This is obviously a very nuanced thing, permitting, licensing, and code enforcement. And change management is as big a part of it, right? Like we could build the easiest, most simple software to use, but if we're not properly training the staff and deploying them on the software of how to use it, I'm sure we all have had apps on our cell phones that seemingly are easy to use, but we never touch them because it's just, don't know how to use them. Same thing applies here. We find there's no better people to actually bring our former customers on, our new customers on with than our former customers, people that have actually deployed this software and used it. So Bill's met some of these individuals. Dean Simpson, for example, is one of our colleagues who worked at a Pittsburgh suburb, Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania. Gerard is another individual that's been involved along the way here. But the real key thing is that we are as much in the business of change management and building successful customers in deployment as much as we are actually about building the software itself. Promise I'm almost done here before I turn it to Matt again in the next part, but this again just kind of builds off of it. I would say the last thing again, and again, this is all about that change management aspect piece. We don't go away once, we obviously deploy the software and if, we were to move forward, Bill and the team are obviously, off and running. So this is kind of the full life cycle of what the OpenGov customer experience is. But when you do go to deploy that software and go through the training period, you will then be transitioned to what we call customer success. So we have account managers here in the state of Connecticut that only work with all of our customers in the state of Connecticut that are essentially just an extension of really the town. Any issues that need to be arisen, they're there to obviously escalate those. We have traditional methodologies of our customer support, which again, our customer support is built with our former customers as well, which is again, it all goes to that philosophy and kind of that overall methodology. We want the people that were using our products, supporting our customers, and obviously deploying and training our customers. And yeah, it is something that unfortunately, I think just in general, government technology world, the customer support just traditionally has been an area that's probably lacked. I'm sure staff can probably, talk about their experiences with maybe some other vendors. And it's one thing that since the inception of our company, which we've tried to do different, is really, really invest heavily in what we call post-go live. Once the town is out using the software every single day, ensuring that you have strong customer support. It's all US based. And yeah, so with that, I will, if there's any, no further questions before we get into the fun stuff with Matt again, it just gives you an idea about OpenGov and the solution that I love.
Thank you.
Couple questions for the company. So is the company OpenGov or, okay,
Yes.
how long have you been in business?
So we've been in business for about 12 years,
Okay.
but this product started in 1994 out of Boston, a company called Viewpoint Cloud. So our first customer in Connecticut probably came on board in about 2013, 14, I believe. So we've been in the States in 2013, 14. OpenGov acquired Viewpoint Cloud in 2019 and kind of have, as you can see, the thing with our company, that first slide, it was 6 things that we do. Each one of our technology suites, as we call them, we sell them. They are best in breed standalone by themselves, but they can be integrated as part of all one big solution.
Okay.
But we'll talk about some of the things that we're going to do to interact with and talk with some of the existing systems here in town as well.
Because I assume it's a validated system, right?
Sorry.
It's a validated system.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So we can confidently say that we work with more municipalities across the state than any other provider.
And as far as the help desk is concerned, you're talking more as more of those account executives that would be there to reach out for individuals having problems with the systems. Okay.
Yep. So the town will have a dedicated customer success manager that will work with them. But we also have our kind of your traditional forms of customer support. You can submit tickets online, email, call in, and our customer support is actually set up where the customer support teams are dedicated to the individual technology suite. So if you call into customer support, you're actually going to be routed directly to our permitting and licensing line, and you're going to be speaking and working with people that only support our permitting and licensing product. Versus if you were like a budgeting customer, for example, then you would be routed to the budget.
How often do you take and make updates to the system?
So we run updates 4 times a year. We run them in the second month. We operate on the January 1 fiscal calendar, so the second month of each quarter.
Okay.
We run updates, which are seamlessly ran over the cloud.
I was going to say there's no downtime for those updates going through. Okay.
Yep. And that's another great thing about the customer success manager. It's not just helping them out in times of need. As we begin rolling them out, we do trainings, obviously make everybody aware of the rollouts, get the staff up and coming. So are ready for those. So.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. All right. You.
Thanks. Alrighty, so way that I want to structure the presentation, I want to kind of give a little bit of a high level description of the software itself. Then I'm going to walk through the applicant portal here. This is that 24/7, resident contractor portal where folks can come in and apply for various licenses and permits. I'll then flip over to the employee portal so you all can be able to see how employees are going to interact with all of those various applications. Now, before I dive here into the public portal, just to set the stage, OpenGov permitting and licensing is a cloud-based solution, as previously mentioned. It is a multi-tenant software, meaning that everybody is using the same version. You will be using the same version as all 55 other customers in the state. This can be accessed from any device that has an internet connection. So whether that's your cell phone, a tablet, your laptop, this public portal is going to be widely available and linked out through the town's website. Now here is just kind of a mock-up of the public portal that I built for the town of Monroe. Now, everything that you're seeing here is going to be configured to the town's processes and the applications that they choose to process through OpenGov. So all of these various tiles, I've chosen to group together by department, but just keep in mind that this is all going to be configurable to the town's processes. So OpenGov is a scalable solution. Now, what I mean by that is that maybe this town wants to start off with just building, permitting, health, and fire. Down the road, maybe you decide, hey, we have a lot of special events that we need to issue permits for. We want to add special event permitting, or we want to start, routing those marriage or death certificates or dog licensing. It's very easy to scale, and we can grow with you when you decide that you're ready to do so. A couple of things about the applicant portal that I like to call out. We like to make it super, super easy and intuitive for contractors and residents to come in and do business with you all. A couple of ways that we do that here is that this global search bar here. I can come in, maybe I've never done business with the town before. I can start to type in a name of an application. I can click on that application and it's going to give me some high level information. What do I need before I start this building permit application? Maybe the town wants to communicate recent changes in legislation. Maybe a fee schedule was recently updated. All of that information we want to provide to the applicant up front so that when an application comes to the town, it's filled out accurately, it's filled out completely, everything is there. Going back here to the public portal, we have a feature called public search. Now I am logged in right now to my demonstration environment. Just want to call out that a user would not need an OpenGov account to do what I'm about to show you. So public records are a way for someone to come in and search for an address and see all of the activity that has happened at that parcel. Now, we will provide an integration with the town's assessor database Vision. So really being able to tie all parcel information, historical records associated with that property, and of course, any newly issued permits associated with that property are all going to be publicly available and can be searched on. So maybe I just bought a house, I want to validate that deck, that permit was actually issued in 2020, or that bathroom remodel, that happened in 2020. I can come in and see all of the activity associated with this property, including property owner information. Now the town will be able to choose what level of detail that they would like the public to be able to search on. So hiding, sensitive information, maybe a code enforcement case has some, sensitive information. We will work with you to make sure that all of that is configured accurately. Here, by selecting my account, this is where the residents can see all of the information regarding applications that they have submitted to the town. Any action that is required, any messages back and forth with the town, any permits that have been issued to them, and any payments that they have previously made or need to make. Now I want to walk through what it would look like for a resident or a contractor to come in and apply for a building permit. Clicking into the building department page, again, all of this text is going to be configurable to the town. So I went ahead and put the mission of the building department here, letting the applicant know what the building department is really responsible for, maybe some contact information. Now, by beginning this application here, you'll notice that my contact information is going to autofill. And I realize there's a little bit of a delay. Try to be more mindful of that. Now, all of my contact information is going to autofill. Now, like Steve said earlier, and First Selectman Rooney said earlier, contractors only need one login across all of OpenGov environments. So if a contractor is doing work in another neighboring community, he or she doesn't need to create a new account with the town of Monroe. They'll simply use their login credentials. All of the information that you're seeing here is all that someone needs to create an account in OpenGov. As I said earlier, we will provide an integration to that Vision Assessor database, which is going to pull in, or rather clip out, addresses that are only in the town of Monroe. As I select that location, it's going to pull up property owner information and any property data associated with this address. We will also provide an integration to the town's GIS database. So being able to take into consideration, hey, this property is in a flood zone, or this is a historic district, this is in wetlands. Those GIS attributes are going to really dictate what happens when the application is routed to the employees. So the proper people are going to be notified based on certain property attributes here. Now, this is really the bread and butter of the application. We will work with the town of Monroe to set up their building permit application. Just keeping in mind that all of this is going to be configurable. We're going to build in conditional logic into the form here so that depending on the way that an applicant answers a question, the system is going to require that more fields be filled out. So we really don't want to inundate folks with information that isn't relevant to the specific, the occupancy type or the type of building that it is. We also can require that certain fields are required or optional so that the applicant would not be able to move forward in the application if certain fields are not filled out. So again, making sure, through help text and required fields that the application is complete by the time it gets to the tax collector or that intake review.
It's a good example of what Madigan, so if you select additions, it will then automatically populate that you need to include a description. Now that would obviously just be whatever the town's permit process, is. So it's that's self-guided.
Now we can also begin to, accurately generate the correct fee that's going to be charged to the applicant based on square footage or maybe estimated cost of proposed construction. Here you can see an example of that help text. So letting the applicant know, here's what we mean. Maybe we only want to include heated square footage, things like that. These are number fields, which are really driving the fees that are going to happen, which you'll see shortly. So we'll actually build in the town's fee structure. OpenGov has an integration to the state's contractor database. So someone can come in and start to type in the name of a contractor, architect, or engineer that they'll be working with. And the system is going to double check that they are in fact licensed. It's going to communicate that license expiration date. Now, if a contractor, for example, wasn't licensed, we can actually halt the application there and they wouldn't be able to move forward. We can capture digital signatures here, any legally binding information or authorizations that we want the applicants to acknowledge. And last but not least, uploading the relevant attachments associated with this application. Now, the town can choose what attachments are required or optional. And again, going back to not inundating the applicant with information that isn't relevant to them, we'll build in conditional logic. So they're only seeing the attachments that are relevant based on the information that they populated. I'm going to go ahead and upload an example site plan here. can also add help text under each of those attachments. So sometimes there's, really, the town may require certain attributes be on that site plan. We can let the applicant know, hey, please make sure that your site plan includes the dimensions, the setbacks, and so on and so forth. Here I can confirm my submission, make sure that everything looks good. If it doesn't, I can easily go back and click edit, and it will take me back to that section in the application. As I confirm and submit this application, I'm now taken to what we call the post-submission page. Now, the system has automatically generated a record number for this building permit. I can see my submission again. Maybe I didn't have an attachment ready at the time that I submitted, so I can come in here anytime and open or upload an additional attachment. I can also add guests to this application. So maybe I want to keep my spouse in the know, maybe there's another contractor. I can simply enter their email address. They'll be able to come in to their portal. They'll be able to upload attachments of their own, pay a fee, maybe request an inspection, having a lot of the same permissions as the initial applicant. Now this right here, this is our Domino's Pizza tracker. This is letting the applicant know where their application is at in the town's process. So the first step here is for me to pay my application fee before anything else can happen. Now keep in mind, this workflow is going to be different based on every single application that is routed through the public portal, and also based on the information I submitted. So earlier when I was talking about that wetlands review, that's only populating here because that property that I selected is in a wetland zone. Now applicants can pay directly through the public portal here. OpenGov has a native integration with a payment processor called Stripe. It is really simple to do. It's not taking me to an external browser. I don't need to come into town hall and pay. At this time, it is a little bit of a time-consuming process for applicants to make payments. I was told that it's about 5 minutes for a payment to process through the current provider. So this is something that is going to be available directly out of the box with OpenGov, so included in that annual subscription cost. My receipt is going to be immediately available for me to print here in my portal. You can see that since I paid my application fee, that workflow tracker has updated and it's now in that intake review. Now, before I flip over to the employee portal, are there any questions about the applicant experience? Yeah.
With the attachment area, I thought I saw there was a section to add an attachment. So like if I had multiple site plans for within the same permit, I could just click the add an attachment and add another site plan and add another.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, for sure. And another thing too, is you saw like some of them were required. You could make them all required so the applicant can't actually advance in the process unless they attach. So you just have a lot of flexibility, and that also helps self-guide the applicant versus an incomplete submission.
Now, at each step of the workflow here, I have the ability to communicate with the town. So if I have a question, maybe I want to let them know, hey, I accidentally left out some project costs or I mistyped that square footage. I can go ahead and message the town directly here, and whoever is assigned to this intake review will get a notification that I left a comment. All right, I now want to flip over.
before we flip,
Yes,
if at this process, you've already submitted, you've already paid,
yep.
you have a change to make, is that the only way to do it? Or can you actually go back in and edit the application itself?
So the employees will have the ability to A, edit those project costs themselves, or B, they can request that the applicant make the change themselves.
Okay. And I noticed that there's a processing fee on the credit card payments, things like that. Is that purely through the service that's providing the credit card processing? Or is that also an additional part of your fee? Does that come back to you guys at all? Or the subscription, the pure
Yes.
payment to you?
Yeah, the fee is 2.99% plus 99 cents. That is something that Stripe, the payment processor, dictates. Anything you want to add there, Steve?
No, and there's no additional fee coming back to OpenGov.
So, and this question may be a little premature, but in the event that the application itself required, for example, zoning approval, is there public access to the information submitted by the applicant at this point? Or is it possible later on?
At this point, there is not, but it is possible later on.
So you're going to get to that, correct? At some point later on, when that public access would be available?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's also important to point out, and you'll see this when you get in there, is the town has the full capability to make whatever they want accessible to the public or not. So it can be as transparent as possible, so that there's full ability in that regard.
Thank you.
And just so I understand the question correctly, so if zoning is a prerequisite to the building, then
Even if it wasn't theoretically a prerequisite, can I speak English? A prerequisite, if someone in the public had a question as to whether or not a zoning approval should be required, at least in their mind. That's what I'm asking.
that is interesting. I've never actually been asked that question before.
Just briefly. So we have the Domino's,
The pizza tracker?
pizza tracker, right? All right. So we could allow the public to view after they pay the fee, and they have the site plan or whatever, we can look at any stage. So say we get down to health. Health does their review, they say yes. We can then, the public or the town can allow the public to see whatever documents that have been submitted, right?
So if I'm understanding your question correctly, you're saying like at that point, like.
Right. Yeah, so at that, we haven't gone through all the steps yet, but can the public see health department's issued its review or its decision?
So that's really to show the applicant where in the process the overall application is.
Right.
If you don't want to issue out the documents until that certificate of occupancy is pushed out, then you can do it that way. But this helps essentially, those calls, hey, where's my permit? Where in the process is it?
Okay, so that's bad example on my part. But the public can access those, if the town allows it, the public can access the application at any stage it's in.
Not,
Go ahead, Natalie.
so the public will be able to access it once it is in a complete stage. So right now, this application is still active because the permit has not been issued and a certificate of occupancy has not been issued. Once the certificate of occupancy has been issued, this record or this application will then be publicly available in the public search.
Okay, so it's available only until such time that it's the project, let's say, becomes more final, and then it goes into the repositories of the different towns that it's final.
That's correct.
So nobody can look at this application, at the process as it's live.
Only the applicant and any guests
Right,
associated with
right.
it. Correct.
It's personal.
And town employee. So,
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
But nobody
Okay.
can, we can't change that, modify that's built inherent into the application, that we can't look at it. Right,
Is that something that you would want access to it before?
we don't know. We've had a couple of questions come up in the recent past about, different projects, so don't know.
Gotcha.
But this is.
The
why you're
questions
seeing
we
some of the
would
questions
have-
coming up.
you probably can't answer.
Right.
It's probably a town of Monroe question about how things are now, right? So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the issue stems, and I could be wrong, but let's say 123 Main applies for an application that has to go through inlands and wetlands and planning and zoning.
Mhm.
I live next to 123 Main. I want to know, has it been approved by planning and zoning yet? I want to know, has it been approved by inland and wetlands yet? Or I want to know if that's where it is in the process. This wouldn't allow me as the neighbor of 123 Main to know that information, because that would not be publicly available to me.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's right. So you would have no opportunity until after it's all finalized to protect, come forth and question that.
Through at least this system. I don't want to interrupt, Mr. Holsworth might,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I also just wanted to point out that this is a presentation right now on the building permit component, which comes after the public hearings of the inland wetlands. It comes after the public hearings associated with planning and zoning. Once both of those commissions have approved it, that's when the applicant comes here and submits their building permit.
Yeah.
But Madigan can go deeper. It might take longer than an hour though, but she can go into the planning and zoning module where those applications can be submitted and then talk about what would then be publicly built. We're on
this
building
is-
permits right now.
Yep, that's a very good point.
So this is.
We can,
Go ahead.
if I may, maybe we can shorten that a little bit. So at the point that Mr. Holsworth was just referencing, the public would have access to review any submission done prior to any hearing. Is that correct? Am I correct?
Yeah, correct on that, exactly, those planning applications that were, yes.
this is just for the building.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Okay,
That's fine.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, so-
Okay.
and that's the.
Yeah, so if the zoning permit
Yeah.
is issued, that is going to be publicly available. Be searched.
Prior to that zoning permit being issued, that's the question.
Oh,
The zoning permit would have to be issued to then be searched upon in that public search.
And that would be
Right.
true for an inland wetlands issue or anything like that?
Correct.
Yeah, correct, yes.
How does the public get to review those submissions prior to those hearings?
Yeah, so it's a separate application than this building permit. So that application, will be issued and then they can be searched upon.
I think I understand where Councilwoman Coda is coming from. It's just, I think that the hearings in inland wetlands and P and Z would be heard, and then that information would be added into the OpenGov program, but those hearings would still occur. So the public would still be involved in the Inland Wetlands Commission meetings, all P and Z meetings. Am I?
If I may, my question is, when does the public get access to the application information prior to those hearings being?
I think that would be at the hearings, Bill, right? That would be
Would be my
when they go in front of inland wetlands, when they go in front of P and Z.
We haven't had the formal dialogue around that, but I would
Yeah.
envision that if a planning.
It's a very good question.
application Gets submitted, and it has documentation associated, it has to go in front of the planning and zoning commission. It could be submitted through the planning and zoning module. And the applications, the documents would be available to staff to be able to take out, download them, for lack of a better term, and publish them on our website like we do today, and notify the residents via voices through the same methodology that we use today. It would be external to OpenGov, but OpenGov would have the capability of bringing in those documents for those planning and zoning matters, for those inland wetland matters, where staff would take that documentation and publish it to our website as it's done today.
So our notice process wouldn't be, this wouldn't be changing our notice process.
No, this is just
accessibility that.
This is just a centralized software where all documentation can go, contractors can go to, construction people involved in the project who are allowed to look at it can go for that information.
Yeah, my issue is really public
Doesn't change it.
accessibility in advance of any hearing.
Yeah, no.
Most of the voices notification, it's the accessibility.
This is just so the whole thing is like, say, you go for a project, OpenGov would say, okay, you gotta get inland wetlands approval. Well, as those meetings occur, then they get documented, correct, into OpenGov, and then you would understand that this has been cleared, it's cleared wetlands. Now it's gotta go to P, it's cleared health, it's cleared to tax assessor. And it's just a series of checklists.
because OpenGov won't let the user or the owner of this property in this mode continue unless all those prior approvals have been finalized.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and those finals are recorded in the system in a completely different area.
And what's
Yeah.
exactly, and what's very important to point out is that you all control exactly how that business process is. So the system, you actually set up the parameters for that system. So you,
Right.
like, as those inland wetland zoning applications are applied for, like, you can even put review period, won't open up building permit until, it's obviously passed the zoning hearing, and then, essentially that could be right.
That's a whole different maybe portal than where we are right now.
So-
Or is it the same one here? It's just a different entity in the application.
It's,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
It's just, it's all the same. That's one thing.
Yeah. So, okay.
What everybody wants is planning and zoning gets a meeting packet with all the information for the application, right? Okay. Bill, do we put those online?
They are on.
Okay.
We take those applications in today, we take them in via paper. And then we digitize them and put them online.
Exactly. Okay. So anybody who wants to access the meeting information prior to a planning, zoning, or inland wetlands hearing has access to those meeting packets, which ultimately the commissioners on those
Yes.
commissions have access to. And that is how the public receives the information about those applications. And it's, the packet has all the necessary things according to our regulations and ordinances, right? So that's where anything's decided. The public has access to the packet, which is the same packet that planning, zoning, or inland wetlands has, right? We're just talking about the software that's a potential use around town hall about how to process these things and make it easier for town employees and the public to move these things forward in a efficient manner or an easier manner. Okay. So why don't we see what the employee is going to see, right? That's where you're going? All right, great.
The key, and I promise I'll be quick, the key is we're not changing your business process. If there's steps in the business process that you want, include, just as you explained, council member, it's really just modernizing and digitizing. We're not going to actually change the way that you guys do business, obviously, unless you want to change it.
Now, just because we are on the topic and you were, talking about the agenda creation or having a packet for a planning and zoning meeting, I went ahead and I'm going to pull up a zoning permit that is in an active status. So nothing has been issued on it yet. Internet is slow. So this is what a building permit, a planning and zoning application, this is what every application or record that comes through the public portal is going to look like on the employee end. Now, what I really quickly want to show you is that you can see this application, the permit fee has been paid, but nothing else has happened here in the process. For any record that exists, I can go ahead and print that record and choose to show all of the location information, that applicant detail, the entire form that was filled out by the applicant, those details. Now, this is an example of something that maybe you could print and take to a meeting. Now, keeping in mind, we're in the employee portal. Now, when an employee logs in, they'll automatically be taken to their task inbox. Up here in the left-hand corner, this is really a to-do list, a punch list of all the things that they need to take action on or that requires their approval. We can see here that I have an intake review for the application that I just submitted through the public portal. It has been automatically assigned to myself with the due date. I can see the comment that was left by the applicant here. Now, when I open this building permit, I can see all of the details filled out by the applicant. I can see all of the attachments that were uploaded by her as well. I can also choose at any time to upload an attachment as an employee user. So maybe uploading that final set of plans or maybe a COI that someone came in and dropped off. I have the ability to upload the files here as well as an employee. We can track the activity log associated with this record. So being able to time and date stamp any action taken by the applicant or an employee. I can see some information about the applicant herself and any guests that she associated with this building permit. And also the location. So these color-coded location flags are being pulled in from the town's GIS system, which is really dictating the workflow that happens over here. So we can see that the applicant paid for that application fee, which then triggered the intake review to become in progress here. Now, the intake review and every workflow step here is going to be automatically routed to the appropriate individual with a due date associated with it. Now, at any time, if someone is out of office, for example, maybe on some much deserved vacation, all of these workflow steps can be quickly reassigned to the appropriate person to make sure that that application is not being held up.
While we're waiting on this, a question on that point that you just made, can that person put themselves out of office and therefore have it automatically assigned? Or would an administrator have to come in and assign somebody when somebody's out on vacation or something like that?
Yeah, good question. So at this time, there's no settings that say, hey, I'm going to be out of office. But it's super easy in the backend system settings to make sure that every health review, if Amy is out, can just be automatically routed to someone else, maybe an assistant or something like that.
Okay.
It's not something that you're going to have to go to.
Kick you off.
It did kick me out. Zoom.
Here.
I got it. I can re-pull it up. It says I'm still connected to my Wi-Fi.
There's Nancy.
Alrighty. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so automatically routing all of those approval steps to the appropriate individual. Here I can see that that applicant left a question or a comment saying accidentally left out, those project costs. I can come up here as an employee user into the details and edit any of these project details at any time. Now, by doing so, of course, maybe an increase in project costs, maybe that increases the fee that we paid, or maybe they accidentally chose the wrong type of structure and it's now a new structure that requires a fire marshal approval of some sort. All of those things the system is going to automatically know, hey, we need to charge that fee, or we need to, the fire marshal's review can automatically populate here. Now, if I wanted to request that the applicant make the change herself rather than me doing it, I can go ahead and request changes. By selecting certain form fields that were captured on the application, I can begin to unlock certain form fields and request that she make changes here. So I can say, please update this project cost. That will then put the onus on the applicant to make those changes. Going back to the building permit itself. As I sign off on that intake review, let's say we got those requested changes back from the applicant, I can go ahead and complete this. And that's automatically going to trigger the next set of workflow steps to become active. And as you can see, they have routed to the appropriate individuals based on the information submitted by the applicant. Now, just to show how easy it is to reassign a step to someone, I can unassign Amy and go ahead and type in Bill's name, for example. Bill will then receive a notification that he needs to have eyes on this application. Now, I can make a comment to the applicant if something doesn't look right on that form or one of the attachments. I can make a comment, but more importantly, I can make an internal note to anyone else in the town that has access to this application. So OpenGov has an unlimited user model, meaning we do not charge based on the number of user licenses in the system. Anybody that needs to have eyes on this building permit is going to be able to do so, and we'll help set up the correct security permissions so that people that only need to view it can view it, people that need to approve certain workflow steps can do so, or folks that need to edit the form itself can do so. So just as an example, I can comment to Carl, say, please take a look. Maybe Carl's in the fire department or wetlands. Carl will then receive a notification that he needs to take a look at this application. Any questions so far? I'm going to go ahead and complete that health review. It's now moved on to engineering. Now, you'll notice these arrows are indicating that certain workflow steps need to happen in a sequential manner. So for example, health engineering, wetlands, and zoning, they're not going to be notified of this application until the intake review has completed. Now we can set up the workflow so that things happen concurrently or sequentially. So we'll work with the town, and we already kind of understand the business process there, and set up the appropriate workflow. I'm going to go ahead and complete all of these reviews. Now let's say that an additional inspection is needed, or an approval ad hoc is needed on this application. You're not going to have to come to OpenGov to say, hey, can you add that in? And in fact, you don't even need to go to the system settings to change the business process of this building permit here. So at any time, I can go ahead and edit the workflow, and I can add a step, either an approval, payment, document, or inspection. Those are the 4 types of workflow steps that exist within OpenGov. Now, going back to a previous discussion on modules or environments, OpenGov is not a module-based system, so every application that comes through is really going to be applied for, processed, and issued using the same set of tools. So, whether we're looking at a building permit or a zoning permit, or a business license or a code enforcement case, everything is really going to, be built on those 4 building blocks here. As all of those reviews have been completed, the building permit has been automatically issued out based on any letterhead that you require be on your building permits or any required language. It can also include information, of course, input by the applicant. Now, when the permit is issued, it's going to be automatically emailed to the applicant and available for them to print in their public portal. It will also be available to print on the town's behalf if they would like. Once a building permit has been issued, the building inspection can occur. We allow applicants or contractors to request certain dates that they would prefer an inspection occurs, but it's always going to be up to the town to schedule out those inspections. I'm going to go ahead and complete the building inspection step. Know that inspectors can go out into the field on a tablet and conduct their inspections that way on the browser view, or we also offer a mobile application which allows inspectors to complete work in an offline mode, and that is included with the cost. So the building inspection has been signed off on. The certificate of occupancy has automatically been issued and again emailed to the applicant and available for them to print. Now, if I flip back over to the applicant portal and clicking into this building permit that I submitted, we can see in real time that all of those reviews have been signed off on and my certificate of occupancy has been issued. Any questions thus far?
Couple.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier that basically this will fully integrate the past permitting and everything with all of our properties. The GIS system will be integrated into there. What about things like our specific zoning, our specific zones? So for what, if it's an industrial zone, a residential zone, will that all get integrated automatically into the system?
Yes, it can.
Okay. With the application process, let's say somebody wants to, and the town still allows for somebody to make a payment by check because they don't want to pay that fee. My understanding is that this doesn't go to the town until the payment is made. So is there a way to override that?
So so when the workflow step for this application fee, I wish I could pull pull it up, but there will be an option that says, I would like to pay by cash or check.
Okay,
They will then get an alert that says you must come into town hall before the next workflow step can proceed.
okay. And then, but at that point, then town hall would have access to that application
Yep.
to say, yes, this payment's been made.
Yep.
Okay. I had one other one, but it's lost on me right now. So if it comes back to me, I'll let you know it later.
And you could even, we understand like, there's obviously going to be a transition period. So there's going to be people that are still going to, like, say day one of you guys, there's going to be people who are still going to come on a submit, application like there always has been. So you can certainly take, that person that walks up to the counter and internally enter it in if you choose to do so as well. So, and the staff can work with them to enter it in. Very, very common.
Remember the last question. So we go through all of the approval processes, like you said, automatically emails the applicant. If we wanted to have, let's say, Bill as our final check, we can just insert another authorization. So yes, it's been approved by zoning, wetlands, all of that stuff. And then there could just be a final review authorization.
Yes.
That kind of gives as if you're being a risk adverse town, that gives the ability for somebody to go in and look through, okay, yes, this should have been granted, that should have been completed.
Yes,
Everything is here, and this is what we expected to be issued.
exactly.
Okay.
And as another example, the town assessor, he can be a last step, making sure that everything that was permitted to build is built, and they didn't try to add on a solar panel or something like that. So the assessor, and I've had conversations with him, so he understands, he will have access to be able to see all of the activity at the permitted location. And same with the legal department too. We'll be able to.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so we're still in the employee portal here. I've actually moved into the Explore tab. Now this is where employees of the town are going to be able to see all of the records, active or completed, stopped, records associated with various departments. So right now I'm looking at all active records across all departments. Now I can go ahead and filter down just to see building department. Now we think of reporting kind of in 6 different types. So we can report on records or applications, approvals, payments, documents, inspections, and projects. Now, the reporting that's native within permitting and licensing is quite open-ended and configurable. So it's going to be really easy to pull up, hey, what building permits were issued maybe in this area last year, or how many zoning permits did we issue within last year, or how much revenue did we rake in for just deck permits, for example. So under payments, there's a few reports out of the box. We do not charge based on reports that you want to build. So it's all going to be in your hands. Your employees are going to be able to quickly report on anything that they would like to see. Here we're looking at a report of all payments that are due. And here we're looking at a report of payments that have been made to the town. And then that ledger report, which is actually going to break down each fee. So, some applications will have the fire marshal fee or the fire inspection fee. And some, you guys have a state fee that needs to be charged to the applicant. Now, we offer an interface to the town's accounting system, Tyler Munis. So on a nightly basis, OpenGov is going to send a report of payment revenue data that can be picked up by the finance department for reconciliation against the general ledger. Now, Tyler Munis is the most common accounting system that we work with. Roughly half of our permitting and licensing customers use Tyler Munis. So we will work with the town to make sure that that is correctly set up and mapped correctly. Now, this is the native, the native reporting within permitting and licensing. Out of the box with permitting and licensing, we also offer a product called our reporting and transparency platform. Now, this is really where OpenGov got its start. Now, this is just a secondary tool that really allows, aggregating data across multiple, from multiple sources. And allowing the town to then build dashboards on maybe the topics or things that they care about. Maybe there's certain initiatives. These dashboards can be built out and available for the council. And you can even publicly publish these dashboards and even add some narrative text to constituents or people to come in and see how you're doing. So being able to, high level issues for, for selectmen, but we can also have dashboards or reports for permitting and licensing revenue. What types of, what permits are bringing in the most revenue, things of that sort. Anything you want to add there, Steve?
Yeah, no, this is just a way, for maybe, the first selectman, for example, who's not going to be a day-to-day users, in the sense that like Bill's department is, but he still wants to see what is our weekly revenue, what is our monthly revenue. We can set this dashboard up for him and honestly, do the same for you guys. So at just a more kind of visually appealing, more easily digestible in the form of like charts, graphs, you can see all that data and visualize that data in a little bit more modern fashion.
So do you build these dashboards or can also the individual users build a dashboard? And
So-
likewise, back to the report phase, can they also build their own reports?
It's both.
Okay.
So we will, as part of the project deployment, we will build and train all the staff on how to do this.
Okay.
And we'll actually set up the ones that a few that you guys want. But we obviously teach so that, obviously, all the users can run with it and create their own.
If we move on, we mentioned that there's we may start with these types of permits, these types of licenses, and then scale. When it comes to integration of historical data, so like, let's say pet licenses, we don't do at first, and we want to scale that, but now we need to integrate also our current licenses into the system. Is there additional charges for each integration as we scale up and add new services?
Yeah, so we refer to it as a historical data migration. So that is a one-time cost to bring into as part of professional services, as part of the actual, what we call professional services, which is deployment training. So yeah, in that instance, let's say the first go around, we didn't want to do that, but bring it in, yes, but it would be a one-time cost versus an addition to the annual subscription for just bringing that data over.
Okay, so then that's the next question is, it doesn't matter though how many things we bring in, the actual annual is just an annual amount. So we can have 10 types of permits and licensing versus 30 types of permits and licensing. And does the cost increase based off of that number?
Yeah, so the cost, so it's categorized by what we call service areas. It's an internal term. Imagine as departments: building departments, planning and zoning, code enforcement, health, fire, public works, engineering. So the number of service areas in terms of the OpenGov term makes up the annual subscription cost, and as many as you guys bring in.
Okay.
Now, yeah, so that essentially, is it. And there's obviously been a number of potential options that the town has looked at and considered. But I think the one that initially wants to be brought forward, with Bill is going to be essentially everything that the town essentially does at this point in time.
So could kind of along the same lines, and perhaps I'm just displaying my ignorance, but this is a cloud-based storage system, correct?
Correct.
Is there a limit, and does the subscription fee increase based on storage, digital storage, cloud usage? Am I making sense?
Yes, you're making
Oh,
sense.
thank God.
Yes. So there is an unlimited data model, an unlimited user model. So you can have as much data and documents as you would like in the system and know the price will never increase for more data. And one thing, a point of clarification that I would like to make about the service areas. So just because, for example, you saw that fire, wetlands, engineering were all involved in that building permitting process. Those individuals or departments, when we talk about service areas, we're talking about pricing based on the departments that own those applications. So just wanna, point of clarification, fire will still be able to see building permits and have access to them and do the appropriate reviews, even if you choose not to issue fire permits or sprinkler permits or things like that to the system.
Very good.
All right. Is there any other questions? Kept it pretty high level.
One that kind of goes towards the very beginning of the presentation where you were talking about the other service areas, not the permitting licensing.
Yep.
And you mentioned that those are all basically different software packages. They're their own thing. Can you still bundle them together? Is there financial advantages to doing multiples if you do find the need to switch the taxes over to your use for tax payments, things like that?
Yes, certainly that is the case. The other thing too is we certainly recognize advantage discounts for communities that are growing with us as well. So that is the case. Now there's there's a little bit to make you guys aware too of the arrangement here in the state that we have with the CROG. The CROG has actually negotiated with OpenGov, and we've entered into agreement for preferred pricing for all municipalities in the state of Connecticut for our permitting and licensing solution only. So there is a full transparent price that we offer to every single customer in the state here for our permitting and licensing solution only. That is the only of our products that's on that purchasing cooperative agreement. So all the other outside solutions are not part of that. Maybe hopefully one day they will be for us, and obviously for all municipalities. But there's a difference, I guess, in terms of the negotiation and bundled pricing options for that outside. But the CROG obviously negotiated a significantly discounted rate for all municipalities in Connecticut as well.
And just to add to that, we're involved with MetroCog, and MetroCog is part of the CROG's agreement in this OpenGov. So that's already been researched.
How long are the initial terms for contracts?
So typical contracts are 1 or 3 years. I would say the majority of our communities enter into years. But yeah.
One last question in terms of support response. What is your average turnaround time for support response if there are issues in the system?
Yeah, so it depends on how the issue is coming in, whether that's phone call or a ticket logged in. The average wait time for a phone call, I believe, is 30 seconds and 5 minutes for the acknowledgement of a support ticket.
That's remarkable.
Yeah, our support team is.
Gotta do better than that,
done a lot of
Madison.
work, so it's, they're outstanding.
Great.
That's it for me.
All right, anybody else?
I'll bring you back a fourth time next time.
No.
I won't mind.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Unless
thank
there's
you.
anything you want to
Thanks.
show us. Thank you. All right,
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm happy to answer questions afterwards as well.
Thank you.
all right. Moving on to item 5, consent calendar. I'm going to pass the consent calendar as presented. If there's no objection. Hearing no objection on passing consent calendar as presented, I ask that communication items A through J be incorporated into the minutes of our meeting. Moving on to item 7, public participation. Is there any member of the public that would like to participate tonight? There's no member of the public that would like to participate tonight. That is in town council chambers. Is there anyone online that would like to participate? Please remember, mute yourself, *6, or select the microphone with the red line through it. Hearing none, seeing none, I'm closing public participation. Moving on to action items. Action item A, Town Council Committee on Finance, Education, Health, and Public Safety Matters. Madam Vice Chair.
We haven't had a meeting in a while.
Thank you. Town Council Planning, Zoning, Public Works, and Park and Recreation Matters. Councilmember Duva.
Nothing to report.
Thank you very much. Moving on to C, Town Council Committee on Legislative and Administrative Matters. We did meet this evening, Councilmember Mauer and I. All items on our agenda were passed with consideration onto this council for council's further deliberation. Moving on to item D, Strategic Plan Committee. We have not met since our last town council meeting. Moving on to item E, Open Space Preservation Acquisition Committee. They have not met since our last town meeting. Moving on to item F for Selectmen's update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the operations update, the food pantry, there was a check presentation from Newtown Savings Bank. The Monroe Food Pantry was presented with a check of $1,710 to help the food pantry. Thank you to Kim Cassia and Newtown Savings Bank, who's always a big supporter of our Monroe businesses. The farmers market is opening June 14th. The farmers market will be opening this Friday, which is June 14th. Hope to see our residents there and join in on supporting our local vendors and their fresh produce. Parks and Recreation, just some announcements there. The summer concert series begins on Friday, June 21st. The Summer Fun Days, which is our children's program, will be kicking off on Monday, June 24th. The Wolf Park Regatta will be held on Wednesday, June 26th. And the Family Character Concert will be held on Wednesday, July 10th. Summer Family Character Nights begin on Wednesday, July 17th. In Public Works, as you know, the NIPS program has brought in a little bit of money, and currently our summer employees are collecting the NIPS that are polluting our streets. So we will see finances from the state as that moves along. Our repaving is continuing, and many potholes are being repaired across the town. We've had some complaints about sightline issues, and they're being addressed with grass and tree trimmings, as well as a lot of weeding and maintenance in the parks, which are ongoing. We're in the current situation of getting our finance bond rating, our credit rating for the town. The town is in the process of receiving our new bond rating. An important point for this council is that our cybersecurity efforts have resonated well, and a condition of our rating is a strong cybersecurity component. I will update this council as we receive the new rating. In emergency services update, Chief Robert Galbraith was one of the Stevenson's fire chiefs for 28 years. Congratulations on your retirement, and thank you for the many years of service to the citizens of Monroe. Our capital projects update, Pepper Street, we're still waiting on signal installation to get the project to significant completion for the state. One of the delays there is Frontier has taken down the pole that the signal has a connecting line to. So we're trying to research as to why Frontier took down the pole. It was done by Frontier, and we're trying to get to the bottom of that just to give you complete transparency on what's happening there. Community update, many of you know Anthony Katz. He sent a message to the First Selectman's office, wanted me to attend his 23rd birthday. He's a special needs student at Massac High School. So happy 23rd birthday to our beloved Anthony Katz, who invited me to his birthday celebration. Anthony has been a pillar of inspiration in our community, and we wish him many more years of inspiring people in Monroe. I attended the pre-prom assembly, spoke to the seniors and juniors about safety and good decision-making during the most memorable nights of their lives, and the Little League pitch hit and run. The Monroe Little League celebrated closing day, and I was invited to throw the first pitch. It's important to recognize the Little League is not only about baseball, it's about community friendships and social life lessons that will contribute to making our Monroe youth great individuals. Pride ceremony. I joined the ceremony and spoke as many gathered for the annual Pride flag raising event. Many speeches were heard by Massac kids and others. Assistant Superintendent Sheila Casanelli attended and presented a speech on behalf of Superintendent Joe Cobza. Thank you, Sheila and Joe. Councilmember Janice Persico helped present at the event, so thank you to Councilmember Persico. Also present, Councilmember Mauer and one attendee from the Board of Education, Chrissy Fensor Martinez. So thank you to all who attended. A lot of nice people, a great event. The Barnum Festival. As a Bridgeport native, I grew up knowing the Barnum Festival ringmasters and attending the parades and celebrations. I was very happy to see Topia hosted the event in Stevenson, organized by Greg and Peggy Nant. The 2024 Barnum Festival ringmaster, Dr. Lawrence, was of course in attendance as well. Events such as this are great for our community to gather, listen to music, eat delicious food, and join a longstanding tradition that has been recognized by the area since 1948 in honor of P.T. Barnum. Massac High School sports, a big year for Massac High School sports. Girls lacrosse Class L state champions. Historic win by our girls with a 10-7 win against Simsbury, bringing the state Class L championship home to Monroe for the first time in girls lacrosse history. Girls softball. Once again, the dynasty that exists in Massac softball. Bill Holsworth's daughter is on the team. Girls softball Class L state championship. I was in attendance for a great battle against Ellington, ending in our girls bringing it home by defeating Ellington 4-0. This will be the 6th year in a row that Massac softball has won the state championship. So congratulations to those girls. Tristan Smith has been recognized as an all New England in shot put, setting a league and school record, beating the previous record set by Scott Zadura in the early 80s. So congratulations to Tristan, and thank you to all the coaches, parents, players, and supporters of our youth sports. Monroe's always produced and will always produce great athletes. This town has proven over and over that Monroe can count on Massac being formidable competition any given year in any given sport. Once again, congratulations to all of our athletes, as this is something all of our community be proud of and embrace. I went to an Eagle Scout commendation. I attended, presented 2 commendations for Eagle Scouts at Webb Mountain Discovery Center. Eagle Scouts is the highest rank an individual can achieve in the Scouts. So it's a great achievement. So congratulations to all our Eagle Scouts. I also attended a senior center for a canine demonstration. This event was attended by both Monroe officers and other cooperating towns to discuss the benefits of the canines for building searches and crowd control scenarios. Seniors and myself enjoyed the interaction and were very supportive of our canine program as it adds to their feeling of overall safety. In ribbon cuttings, there was a ribbon cutting for Forever Zen dog grooming on June 7th. It was attended by our Economic Development and Community Director Williams Holsworth and Ray Giovanni in the Chamber of Commerce. So we wish Forever Zen Dog Grooming a lot of luck in Monroe. And graduations coming up tomorrow night and Thursday night, Jockey Hollow and Massac. So congratulations to all the students that will be graduating from Monroe schools this week. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. All right, we have no matters of unfinished business this evening. We have a number of new business items. I have a motion to accept the following donation to the Edith Wheeler Memorial Library. $1,590.85 from Friends of the Library for Children's Summer Reading Program. Is there a
So
motion?
moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Lapellis. Is there a second? Kathy. Second by Kathy Koputz. Mr. First Selectman, any other discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we know, the donations help our different organizations operate. Any extra funds that are donated assist in the benefit of the community. So once again, thank you for those donations.
Thank you. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the donation, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Moving on to item B, resolution 24-103. Madam Vice Chair.
Resolved that the 2024 Neighborhood Assistance Act program application from the Community and Social Services Department for the Project One program is hereby approved.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Chair. There's a motion to adopt resolution 24-103. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason Mauer. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you. The town of Monroe is participating in the 2024 Neighborhood Assistance Act program, which benefits municipal agencies and community nonprofit organizations through a state tax credit. A single application has been received from the Community Social Service Department for the Project Worth program. As required by the NAA program, a public hearing is required as condition precedent to the town council approval.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution 24-103, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Moving on to item C, I move the town council adopt resolution 24-104, resolve that the resolution titled Resolution Authorizing Appropriation of $3,200,000 for the purchase of fire apparatus and authorizing the issuance of the town's general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $3,200,000 to finance the appropriation, a copy of which is available at this meeting and was included in the packet of meeting materials, is hereby approved and recommended for adoption by the town. Is there a second?
I second it.
Second by Vice Chair Lapellis. Okay. I have one other motion. I move that the town council waive the reading of the resolution authorizing appropriation of $3,200,000 for the purchase of fire apparatus and authorizing the issuance of town's general obligation bonds in the amount to not to exceed $3,200,000 to finance the appropriation. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Pinduva. Any discussion on the waiving of the reading?
Make him read it.
All right, all in favor of waiving the reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Moving on to discussion of resolution 24-104. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you. I just have one memo regarding all the resolutions and related correspondence dated today. Town Council, Board of Finance, and legal voters of the town of Monroe. Commuted my recommendation to adopt certain resolutions for bonding authorizations. I ask that you place the following resolutions on the agenda for your next meeting for consideration and adoption. I further recommend the town council consider, which you have for each resolution, a motion to waive the reading of the entitled resolution and its full text to be incorporated into the minutes of the meeting.
Thank you. All right, any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution 24-104, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Moving on to item D, resolution 24-105. I move to the town council adopt resolution 24-105, resolve that the resolution entitled Resolution Authorizing an Appropriation of $1,520,000 for a road construction and reconstruction Phase 11 project and authorizing the issuance of the town's general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $1,520,000 to finance the appropriation, copy of which is available at this meeting and was included in the packet of meeting materials, is hereby approved and recommended for adoption by the town. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Lapellis. I move that the town council waive the reading of the resolution entitled Resolution Authorizing Appropriation of $1,520,000 for a road construction and reconstruction Phase 11 project and authorizing the issuance of town's general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $1,520,000 to finance the appropriation. Is there a second? Second by Pinduva. Any discussion on the waiving of the reading? No mean chance this time. All right, calling the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed 7-0. Moving on to discussion of 24-105. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution 24-105, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Moving on to item E. I move that the town council adopt resolution 24-109, resolve that the resolution entitled Resolution Authorizing Appropriation of
It's 106.
withdrawn. I withdraw the motion. I move that the town council adopt resolution 24-106, resolve that the resolution entitled Resolution Authorizing an Appropriation of $1,050,000 for the purchase of trucks and equipment for the Department of Public Works and authorizing the issuance of the town's general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $1,050,000 to finance the appropriation, copy of which is available at this meeting and was included in the packet of meeting materials. It's hereby approved and recommended for adoption by the town. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Lapellis. All right, I move that the town council waive the reading of resolution authorizing an appropriation of $1,050,000 for the purchase of trucks and equipment for the Department of Public Works and authorizing the issuance of the town's general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $1,050,000 to finance the appropriation. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Pinduva. Any discussion on the waiving of the reading?
We really don't want to make him read one? No. Okay.
Nice.
No.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of waiving the reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Moving on to the discussion of 24-106. Is there any other discussion on this item? Hearing none, All those in favor of adopting resolution 24-106, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Moving on to item F. I move that the town council adopt resolution number 24-107. Resolved that the resolution entitled Resolution Authorizing Appropriation of $450,000 for renovations, upgrades, and roof replacement related to the Department of Public Works Highway Office and authorizing the issuance of town's general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $450,000, finance the appropriation. Copy of which is available at this meeting and was included in the packet of meeting materials. It's hereby approved and recommended for adoption by the town. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Lapellis. All right. I move that the town council waive the reading of resolution authorizing an appropriation of $450,000 for renovations, upgrades, and roof replacement related to the Department of Public Works Highway Office and authorizing the issuance of the town's general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $450,000 to finance the appropriation. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Lapellis. Any discussion on waiving the reading? Hearing none, all those in favor of waiving the reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, waiving the reading passes. Any discussion on resolution 24-107? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution 24-107, please say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. All right. One more. One more. One more. All right, item G, resolution 24-108. I move that the town council adopt town council resolution 24-108, calling for a town meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
And by Vice Chair Lapellis. I move that the town council waive the reading of resolution 24-108. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Lapellis. Any discussion on waiving the reading? Hearing none, all those in favor of waiving the reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Moving on to the merits of 24-108. Any discussion on calling for a town meeting?
Only to clarify that the meeting is to be held July 9th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers.
I believe it is a Tuesday. Just confirm. Don't want to give anyone bad information. It is a Tuesday. All right. Any other discussion?
Why are we having the town meeting?
Vote on the buying resolutions that just went through. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. We have no matters of unfinished business that are unfinished. We have no unfinished matters of new business. There is no second public participation. I am adjourning this meeting at 8:42 p.m.